filming a video all about Japanese bathrooms. I have filmed every single Japanese bathroom over the course of our trip, and I've noticed some patterns and I have some thoughts about why Japanese bathrooms are so great. But first, a little story. One of the funniest moments of this trip for me was our first night in Tokyo. It was 4 a.m. Sam had gotten up to go to the bathroom. I was asleep, and all of a sudden I hear the sound of Sam yelling, "Turn it off! Turn it off! Where is the light?" It turns out he had walked into the bathroom and he was trying to find the light, and instead he touched the buttons on the bidet control system. The water just started spraying everywhere. Now, I was under the impression that the bidet doesn't work unless you are seated on the toilet, like there's pressure on the toilet seat. But apparently that is not always the case. So water started spraying everywhere, on him, on the floor. It was a huge mess. We found the light. But that was our jet-lagged introduction to Japanese toilets. I guess the first thing I should mention about Japanese bathrooms is that you usually step up into the bathroom or step down into the bathroom. This is something I've noticed in a lot of the bathrooms. They're never at ground level. They're either up or below the level of the room, which is really interesting. But now let's turn you around over to the bidet. So this particular bidet does have all of the buttons labeled in English and Japanese, so that is very helpful. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's only Japanese, but I have found the Google Lens app is super helpful. You just open the camera function and you can scan the text. And for example, this first one right here, it says buttocks. Doesn't say that in English. In English, it just says spray. But if you're wondering what's going to get sprayed, use your little Google Lens to translate for you. You might also notice that some of the figures are blue, the others are red. So you know this is the button for men, this is the button for women. It'll spray at a slightly different angle, and then you can adjust the water pressure. How gentle or how forceful, shall we say, do you want the spray to come out? And if you want to clean the nozzle before using, you would just press that little button right there. Alrighty, husband, you have had access to a bidet for a month and a half now. Thoughts?
I sure have. Best bathrooms in the world here in Japan. Hands down. Okay, not only the bidet, heated toilet seats too. It just seems weird that this isn't done everywhere. Wiping with tissue is a nice first line of defense, but if you really want to take things to another level in terms of cleanliness, the bidet really does that for you. Because all you have to do is imagine if it was on another part of your body, say it was on your cheek, would you just want to wipe it with a napkin and then get on with your day? You know, it's nice to have that wash as well. I'm all for it. I'm going to miss them. In fact, someday I'd love to have a Japanese toilet in the house along with my personal onsen. So a couple dreams to look forward to maybe in the future. So one thing that I really like about Japanese toilets in particular are the heated seats. Those are a game changer, especially in the winter time. Like, who likes sitting on a cold toilet seat? I remember the first time I came across a heated toilet seat was when I first moved to Korea back in 2012. And I thought it was just revolutionizing, amazing. Why doesn't the rest of the world have heated toilet seats? Especially in Canada, where I come from, where it's so cold for most of the year. So yeah, that's another thing to love. Those heated seats are just marvelous. Another thing I've noticed is that it is quite common to have two toilet paper rolls right next to each other. This is something that I have seen in a lot of hotels, whenever you use a public restroom, and sometimes even in the apartments that are available to rent. You get two toilet rolls, so you always know when the first one's running low, and you know if there's a second roll available or if you're going to be in trouble. However, because you do have the bidet, you're never really in trouble, because even if the toilet paper runs out, you've still got water to clean yourself. So you're all good. Another cool thing about Japanese bathrooms, this mirror is actually warm to the touch. It even burns a little, I would say, like that is quite warm. And that's so that while you're taking the shower,
you won't get the condensation on the mirror. And only part of it is heated, kind of like this rectangular area here. Steam-free rectangle, here we go again, woo! So that once you're done, you know, you get out, maybe you're a man, you gotta shave your beard or do something else in here, and you'll be able to see yourself right away. You don't have to worry about grabbing a towel and, you know, trying to wipe away that condensation. It's just always clear. And I think I've only ever seen that in Japan. Haven't encountered that anywhere else. And while I'm here talking to you about Japanese bathrooms, I feel like I should briefly mention onsen. I feel like this deserves its own separate video because it's a very wide topic with its own etiquette, but I want to mention it because it's also connected to bathing. So onsen are hot springs that you can visit throughout Japan. Typically, if you stay at a ryokan, a traditional Japanese guest house, you'll have access to the onsen, the hot springs. And what's different about it is that you have to go in there naked. And oftentimes they are communal, so you do have some private hot springs, but typically you'll first walk into this communal bathroom where you'll have a row of little shower heads with the stools. You've got to sit there, shampoo yourself, wash your whole body, and once you are squeaky clean, then you can set foot in the onsen. And you cannot wear bathing suits, you cannot cover yourself up with a towel or anything like that. You just go in as is. Onsen time.
Onsen time.
For a bath at the public bath.
This is our favorite thing to do when we stay in these traditional Japanese inns. I have to go down to the bottom floor.
Yeah, this guest house we're staying at doesn't have showers in the rooms, so it's public
you
bath.
also have to shower down there too.
And onsen.
It's required. This is the best. Nature, tranquility, and this onsen is really nice. It's obviously warm, but this one isn't like piping hot. There's some that are like, you feel like you're kind of being boiled alive. This one not. It's just very comfortable, and oh, I could be here all day. We only got half an hour, so.
And it might seem a little bit strange if that's not your culture and you haven't grown up that way, but I do promise that it gets easier after you've done it a few times. You just kind of march in there and do your thing. So yeah, that's another aspect of Japanese bathing culture. I suppose if you're feeling a bit nervous about it, you can always go at off-peak hours when there might be less people, or maybe you'll get lucky and there won't be anyone at all in the onsen. But yeah, if you travel to Japan, check out the onsen. All right, guys, so I have been hoping for a bit of a strange bathroom layout to share with you for this Japanese bathrooms video, and we finally got it here at this Airbnb that we're renting in Yuzawa. And what I find very interesting about it is that the bathroom is kind of split up into 3 different areas. I think part of the reason is because they renovated the space and they just did not have enough room to fit everything into one place. You've got this random sink, mirror area to brush your teeth, wash your hands. So that's happening here as soon as you step into the apartment. Then we've got a different room just for the toilet. There it is. And the toilet had to fit diagonally. It's a very tight space. Do you want to demonstrate?
It's not for 6'1".
Yeah, it is not for tall people.
There's nothing in this house that's for 6'1".
Yeah. Just a little pretend sit.
Yeah, look, I have to, really spread them out.
And then the other thing to show you is the shower space. This is a completely wet bathroom, so you've got an area with the tub, and then you've got the floor. You don't have to shower in the tub. You can just shower in this wet floor area. And again, you have the adjustable shower head, up high, down low, and they also have like a little stool that you can sit on, and they've got this little pot thing that you can fill up with water and just wash yourself. So a very traditional Japanese bathroom in that regard, and just kind of divided across 3 areas of the apartment. Another cool thing about Japanese bathrooms, especially when you're staying in a hotel, is the amenities kit that you get. Now, sometimes the amenities kit will be right in the bathroom and other times it's down in the lobby. So as soon as you check in, they'll let you know like, hey, if you need to grab anything, if you forgot a toothbrush, a comb, whatever, it's here available at the lobby. You can help yourself, take it up to your room, and other times it's just here waiting for you. So I haven't even looked at this yet, but I thought we could do a little tour and see what is in here. So first up, we have 2 body towels. There we go. I guess these are for scrubbing in the shower. 2 combs, they fold out. So you forgot to pack your comb, you'll still be able to brush your hair. 2 razors, double blade, 2 hair ties, some Q-tips, 2 cotton pads for removing your makeup at the end of the day, 2 shower caps in case you don't want to get your hair wet. It's not a hair washing day. Oh, and this is quite clever. 2 toothbrushes with a little thing of toothpaste. And it's quite smart because they've given us 2 different colors, a black toothbrush and a cream colored toothbrush. So we can differentiate, you know, if you've got 2 guests staying in the room, you won't end up using your partner's toothbrush accidentally, which happens a lot, even when you do have different colors. So that's what's available in the amenities kit. So the faucets here in Japan are something else. This one looks quite confusing, lots of knobs and just different buttons. For this one, if we turn this here, we get water coming out of the sink. And then if we want water to come out of the shower head, we would use this button. And this right here would regulate the temperature. So here you've got the red line, and you can decide if you want it to be warmer, cooler. This would be your regulator right here. So this one does have 2 different knobs for faucet, another one for the shower head. But as you've seen in some of the other bathrooms, the faucet can look a little bit different. But usually the shower head and the faucet have a control system so that you can regulate where the water comes out from. Alrighty, so now we are moving on to the shower head. And what I find really interesting about Japanese bathrooms is that you can adjust the height of the shower head. Like, you've got 2 different heights to choose from. And I thought this was really weird at first. I didn't quite get it, but I guess there are a few different reasons why this would make sense. So for example, if you keep it at the highest height, that's ideal for washing your hair. If you put it down here a bit lower, that makes sense if you don't want to get your hair wet, you just want to wash your body. Or maybe it's a child that's bathing, you know, that height would make a lot more sense. Or there's a third reason that only came to me this morning when I was pondering Japanese bathrooms. So the third possible reason that occurred to me just today was that here in Japan they use the stool and bucket system. So you may have noticed with a lot of these bathrooms that I've been showing you that they are wet bathrooms. Everything is allowed to get wet. You can grab your shower head, spray the ceilings, spray the walls, spray the floors, no big deal. Because aside from having a drain in the tub, you also have another drain in the center of the bathroom. And that's because in some bathrooms, you can shower in the tub, but in others, you can just shower in this main area of the wet bathroom, let's say. And it's quite normal to have a little stool that you sit on, and then you can use a bucket, fill that up with water, and pour it over your body. Or you can lower the shower head to this lower setting, and then it's spraying you perfectly while you're seated on your little stool. We actually encountered that style of bathroom in one of the apartments we rented during this trip, and it's also what you see whenever you go to the onsen. Before you enter the hot spring, you have to completely wash your entire body. So you walk into this communal bathroom and you've got a row of little stools, and everyone has a little mirror and a little shower head, and the shower head is, at the lower level so that you can sit and, have your shower seated. So That's something that occurred to me. I think it's pretty cool. So now moving on to the bathtub that we've got right here. Another interesting thing about Japanese bathrooms is that the bathtub isn't really for bathing. The bathtub is for relaxing. So you wash your body in the shower. You can use the stool and bucket system. And then the idea is that you just soak in the tub once you're already scrubbed clean, fully clean. And this is because often the water is reused. So if you've got a family, you would fill up the tub and everybody would get in one at a time after they've already had their shower. And in a lot of apartments, you'll find that there's a control panel next to the bathtub where you can control the temperature of the water. Like once you've filled up the tub, you can keep that warm. And that way, every member of the family can have their chance to soak in the tub and the water won't be cold for the last person. And then another thing to mention is that the water from the tub can be reused in the washing machine. So a lot of the washing machines have a special hookup so you can transfer the clean water from the tub, because remember, you've already showered, and fill up the washing machine, and this water doesn't go to waste. So that's another pretty cool thing about Japanese bathtubs. So I've asked my husband here a favor. First of all, how tall are you?
I'm 6'1", guys.
Yes.
So that's like roughly 184 centimeters.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And I thought it would be fun for you to show us if you fit in the tub. Can you stretch your legs? What's the experience like?
Come join me. We'll find out, huh?
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So easy to get in.
Is it?
And yeah, I can get in like this.
Okay.
It's not hitting my head.
Okay.
So something that I love about Japanese showers in general is I like having this free-ranging, I guess you would call it, shower head. Mm-hmm. The water pressure in Japan in most showers tends to be awesome, like just nice and forceful. So I love just being able to, and having a wet shower is nice too, because I'm a big guy in a small space. If I get things wet, I don't have to feel bad. That's normal, right? In a wet shower like this. So that's one of my favorite features. Obviously being able to adjust the height is nice. I do use both of them, but like I have to duck, okay? If I'm have it like this, if I want to wash my hair, I gotta go like that. I can't just be like standing right up to it. That hits me in the face, not the head. So that's one of the things. Can I actually stretch out in a bathtub?
Yeah, let's say you wanted to soak.
I cannot. So I'm like this. My knees are against, and
Okay.
that's as far as I can go.
So you would be cross-legged in
Yeah, but it's comfortable enough.
Is it?
I could be having a bath and just, I mean, it's obviously nicer to stretch your legs fully out, but yeah, I could have a bath in here. I mean, my knees are right at the top of the surface, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I've gotten used to it. To be honest, the things that I dislike the most about showers around the world is when they have bad water pressure and inconsistent hot and cold temperatures. There's nothing worse than when it's alternating and you can't regulate the temperature. I find in Japan it's both excellent for those two things. Number one, the water pressure, and number two, getting the exact temperature you want. So another cool thing are the tiny sinks attached to the toilet. Again, I've only ever seen this in Japan, but it's a very eco-friendly alternative to a sink. Plus, it makes a lot of sense when you get a tiny bathroom where you can't really fit a toilet and a large sink and whatever else you need. So we've noticed this in a lot of public bathrooms, sometimes in restaurants, but also in one of the apartments where we rented, the toilet room was just tiny. Like the toilet was in there diagonally, and there was a tiny little sink so that every time you flush the toilet, when the water refills into the tank, you have the opportunity to wash your hands with that clean water before it goes into the tank, and that way you're not being wasteful. So again, super cool. Haven't encountered those anywhere else in the world, but it makes a lot of sense here in Japan where, you know, space is at a premium, and oftentimes you do have small bathrooms, small apartments, and you've just got to be very efficient with space. On the subject of toilets, another thing I've noticed is that you have two options when it comes to flushing. You can do a light flush for number one,
or a full flush for number 2, and number 1 is obviously the more eco-friendly flush. So oftentimes when you go to flush, you either swing the lever up or down or to the right or to the left. There are lots of different options, but that's something that is not quite as popular in North America. I feel like we're starting to see that a little bit more, but here almost every single toilet gives you the option to flush for 1 or 2. Now let's briefly talk about squat toilets, because even though they are rare, I have encountered squat toilets here in Japan. It's only happened like 2 or 3 times. Once it was when we were visiting a national park. We were in the middle of the park hiking, and they had a toilet and the only option was a squat toilet. And then the other times when I encountered squat toilets was when we stopped at gas stations. We were traveling by bus, you know, just crossing the country, stopped for a little break, and the bathrooms had both options. So they had the squat toilet, and then they also had the Western style toilet with a bidet, and that's usually marked right on the door. So before you even open the door to the stall, you know if you're gonna find a squat style toilet or a Western style toilet. But I wouldn't worry too much about the squat toilets if it's something that you don't feel too comfortable with, because it's actually quite rare and difficult to find. So for the most part here in Japan, you'll be using some very modern, fancy toilets, heated seats, bidet, all the works. And I guess that's all I have to say about Japanese bathrooms. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you have found any strange or unique bathrooms during your travels around the world where you think, hey, why isn't this more common across the world? So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I invite you to give it a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe, because we do have lots of food and travel videos coming your way from Japan. Ta-ta!